US is expanding its overseas military presence. According to Marine Corps General Joseph Dunford, there are now 300,000 personnel in 177 countries. That's up from 200,000 last year. Many of those troops are based in other NATO countries. Those include almost 35,000 in Germany and 12,000 in Italy. The US also operates numerous bases in Asia, in allied states, including Japan and South Korea, and in war zones such as Afghanistan. Well, this comes despite Donald Trump's pledge to end America's role as the world's policeman.
We more and more are not wanting to be the policeman of the world. We're spending tremendous amounts of money for decades on policing the world, and that shouldn't be our priority.
Well, we can now bring in international criminal law attorney Jennifer Breeden for her take. Jennifer, always welcome to the programme. Hello there. Only a few months ago, we heard the US president say that he doesn't want his country to be the world's policeman. Why then do you think we're seeing this expansion of overseas military operations?
Well, I think we're also looking at a continuation of policies even from past administrations. So a couple months ago, President Trump had declared his intent, something that he wants to see, which is the U.S. to not be a policeman, to not have this presence. But mostly within that speech, Trump talked about not wanting to fund the organizations such as NATO, which the U.S. has been so deeply involved in, and instead focus more on its own national issues and own national security issues. So I think we are seeing, even if there is an expansion, as the general has discussed, or the number of troops overseas, we're seeing a continuation of past policies, despite the fact that Trump has declared his intent to not want to do that. But of course, we have such a heavy bureaucratic system in the United States. We're probably going to see a lot of time that it takes for Trump to change some of those policies and roll things back.
This all has to be paid for, doesn't it, of course? US military spend far outstrips the rest of the world combined. It does beg the question, why do taxpayers put up with it?
They really don't. And again, that's a great question, because I think that's a lot of the reason that Donald Trump was elected in the first place, is because American taxpayers are waking up after years of being asleep at the wheel saying, wait, what's going on here? We don't want that. And that's why he was elected, on promises like that. We're going to stop doing this. We're going to stop putting millions of dollars into groups like NATO. For what reason? Because, a lot of times it's putting the United States in a worse situation diplomatically and in foreign policy areas than we really need. And we have issues here at home and domestically in the United States. So that is why he was elected. I think these declarations of intent on Trump's part of not wanting to be that person anymore, wanting to roll back some of the presence, is part of the reason, telling the people that voted for him, I haven't forgotten this, I am still going to work on it. But again, there is this bureaucratic machine from past foreign policies that continue to do that.
When it comes down to it, Jennifer, is it politically possible for the Trump administration, or indeed future administrations, to reverse the trend and slash military spending? Because there's so much lobby groups, military machinery around this, isn't there, that there's going to be so much opposition?
There is. And I think one of the basic failures is the fact that there hasn't been a foreign policy initiative in these avenues of self-sustainability. We talk about wanting to help other nations. In Nigeria, they need desperate help training officers against Boko Haram, who's pledged allegiance to ISIS. And so we talk about we want to help these nations, but instead we have very few military policies and foreign policy initiatives that help for self-sustainability, saying, hey, we'll come and train you, but our program is going to be set up that we're going to leave so that you can handle it yourself, rather than we're going to hang around here just to see what happens. So if we can start to do that, I think it will be a little bit more possible. But right now, we haven't had State Department officials or personnel willing to put up with self-sustainability, and rather just putting their claws in anything they can get for as long as possible.
Just your thoughts on the big picture before we go, Jennifer. How does the US global presence affect international peace and stability?
I think it absolutely has a good presence if it's utilized the right way. If you have people in office positions as officials, if you have the right people managing these things that say, look, we're going to be here for self-sustainability. We can work with our allies, and we can even work with other nations that are also in the region to make sure that goals are met for the people, for the citizens, for their own self-determination rights, but recognizing that sometimes they do need other nations coming in. It's about being smart. It's about understanding how the world works and not coming into another country with other cultures to implement U.S. cultures and laws. That's one of the biggest mistakes we've made in rule of law development. And so as long as we get the right people in there, and I think Trump has tried to do a good job of taking people out and putting other people in, but getting the right people in official positions to say, look, we're going to respect your cultures, we'll come in and help, but we're going to work with other people on the ground. We're not going to spark any riots or anything, and we're going to make sure we respect your cultures.
Live from Wisconsin, Jennifer Breeden, international criminal law attorney. Thank you.